Anything you tell us today isn't going to hurt you. We're going to find it out anyway.
Do you want to make our jobs harder or easier?
We're here to see what you know. How did this all start with you and Cliff and these baseballs, and we're trying to still put the
I can
pieces
tell you a
together.
lie, I don't want to go to jail.
Just start from the beginning.
Welcome to episode 2 of Operation Stolen Base, the true story of Cliff Panezich, a baseball prospect who the FBI says masterminded one of the biggest sports memorabilia fraud schemes of all time. My name is Johnny Chechitelli. I grew up just a few streets away from Cliff, outside of Youngstown, Ohio, and we played Little League Baseball together as kids. I've come to learn that Cliff wanted to be a pro ball player his whole life. And that was it. I can relate to that at some level. I mean, when my dad used to ask me what I wanted to be when I grew up, I told him second baseman for the New York Yankees. He laughed and said, "What else?" My backup plan was to become a filmmaker. And by 2010, I'd made my first documentary movie, telling some true crime tales from my hometown, which has been called Crime Town, USA since 1963. Fast forward to the summer of 2022, in late June when my co-producers and I head to Girard, Ohio, just minutes from downtown Youngstown. We park in front of a duplex about a block from Girard's famous Jib Jab hot dog shop. Cliff has been staying at this place since he was paroled, sleeping on a futon, his every move tracked by an ankle monitor. He opens the door in a tank top, with a sleeve of tattoos up his right arm, many of them Las Vegas themed. He's around 6 foot tall and built like a pro athlete. My crew and I set up for an interview in a room definitely not designed for one. There's little furniture or anything to soften the reverb, or the sounds from outside. Noisy car exhausts, a neighbor's lawnmower, dogs barking, but it's the only chance we'll have to talk before Cliff gets his ankle lock off and jumps on a plane for Vegas. How did he learn he was so good at forging signatures? When did he sell his first forgery? What did he do with all the money? I had a lot of questions, but I felt we should start at the beginning. Chapter 2, Batter Up. Okay, let's get started. Say and spell your name and tell us where we are today.
So Cliff Panezich, Panezich. I'm in Girard, Ohio right now on house arrest. Just finished up my 6-year prison sentence. Truthfully, the only thing I wanted to do in life was play professional baseball. I remember started playing baseball at age 4, standing in the outfield, picking dandelions. No interest in the game whatsoever. And by age 5 and 6, playing baseball is the only thing I wanted to do. To me, my childhood was normal. My father, Frank Panezich, he's the one in the family that's all sports oriented. That was my relationship with him. My mom was very not sports oriented and had no athleticism or any background in sports.
I'm Rose Panezich, and I'm Cliff Panezich's mother. Cliff was born on Christmas Day, 1985. He was a good kid. Being that he was the only child, we went to water parks and amusement parks, Disney World every year. And then with all the baseball, we were always at the ball field.
When did you know Cliff had a talent for baseball?
I think we always did. I mean, he was good from when he started in Little League, but he was always one of the better kids on the team. Cliff got his athletic ability from his father.
How good was Cliff's dad?
He was supposed to play professionally right out of high school. He had tryouts with the Red Sox.
He had his own professional baseball aspirations kind of derailed because of the Vietnam War, and served in the Vietnam War for 4 years. Came back, was an electrician working in the steel mills, was injured,
The craneman forgot he was up on a ladder and knocked him down into a pit. So he had multiple surgeries in his back, and that was it. He never worked again.
Growing up, my father didn't work. So my whole childhood was training for sports, training for baseball, basketball, football. And that's, really where everything kind of developed in my family, being so sports oriented.
Did your dad coach, or was he just a parent?
No, so my dad coached me all the way up until high school.
What kind of a coach was he?
There's more times I wanted to quit playing baseball than I care to even talk about, to be honest.
I think Frank really put all of his energy into Cliff doing good because he missed out. Anything that went wrong during the game is what Frank would concentrate on after the game. Cliff could have 2 home runs and 1 strikeout, and then that's all you'd hear about was the strikeout, not the home runs.
Like I just remember from my childhood and playing baseball constantly being yelled at when I failed. So I just remember that. I remember not wanting to play a lot of times, and really never being allowed to quit.
Do you think that robbed you of any of your childhood?
Geez, that's a deep question. Looking back, probably there was never a such thing as good enough. Maybe that sounds bad on the surface, but it also made it to where I was never satisfied with where my talent was or with how I played or anything like that. So it was always, pushing to achieve the next level, pushing to get better.
Maybe when Cliff was younger, he resented that. Frank always complaining about what he did wrong. But afterwards, I think he realized that that's what made him better.
I got to where I got because I played hard, trained hard, and put in the work. And that came from him being that rough on me at an early age. It wasn't just about going out there and playing for fun and having a good time. I was out there to win.
Yeah, no, he didn't like losing. I think he still doesn't. No, not a good loser. It would be like go in his room and slam the door. For days, we probably didn't see him or hear from him. Yeah, he wasn't good. But he did good afterwards in college.
I originally went to Hiram College on a full academic scholarship. Dropped out after 2 weeks because I didn't like the baseball program. Transferred to a junior college, Mercyhurst Northeast Junior College. Played there for 2 years. Transferred to Martin Methodist in Pulaski, Tennessee.
Okay, you're playing college ball, but what was the plan? What did you think was going to happen?
The only plan is getting into professional baseball. That was the only plan.
What does it take to make it to a pro level?
Man, it's a lifelong dedication to work and getting better. For me, it was a full-time job. So there was no job while I was in high school, no job while I was in college. That is my job. And it's a full-time job, training, practicing, dieting, everything like that. Team practices, games, got to go to class, whatever. But the off season, I have to play some type of summer collegiate baseball and I have to be in my training. If I'm not progressing in my career, I have no career. So, what do you do on the side to survive financially?
With no time for a job, Cliff looked for ways to make some easy cash. And it all began with a nudge from a childhood friend back in Youngstown.
I would have been at Mercyhurst Northeast Junior College. One of my friends, Chasin, he used to call himself the autograph kid. He did the whole autograph industry for his own collection, and he got me to go to a Pirates game with him one time. So to me, going to a game is, show up an hour before the game, stand on the rail, try and call some players over, trying to get some autographs. This was show up at the park at noon for a 7:00 game and try and catch players as they go in. And I remember it was the Florida Marlins. I was super successful. Jason turned me on to how to get to autographs, and I turned it into a business, and that's where it began.
So it starts off legitimately.
Absolutely. This was a full-on legitimate business at the time. I called it athletic sports cards, connections, and memorabilia. Getting baseball signed, flipping them on eBay. The Florida Marlins trip or whatever, I probably made about $500. And this really came about so I didn't have to have an actual job while I'm in college, training for baseball.
You go off and start this eBay account. How easy is it to get started on eBay?
So that would have been roughly 2005, 2006. Super easy. Super easy. No selling limits or restrictions, anything like that. So it's fire up an eBay account, off you go.
With the little bit of money he made from selling sports memorabilia on eBay, Cliff bought himself more time to focus on his baseball career.
Coming out of junior college, looking to transfer, I transferred to Martin Methodist in Pulaski, Tennessee. Played 2 years down there. My junior year, I hit around 300, 2 home runs, which wasn't getting me into pro ball. So I go into my senior season back against the wall. No backup plan, no idea what I'm doing in life, no idea what happens if there is no more baseball. And I really turned my career around and got with a different hitting instructor, got in better shape. My first weekend, I had a miserable first opening weekend. Felt like I was probably on the verge of possibly getting benched. And I came out the next weekend, went like 5 for 8, 3 home runs, and it just snowballed from there.
Cliff finished his senior season with an impressive .326 batting average, 21 homers, and 61 runs batted in 56 games. But was it enough to catch the eye of Major League scouts?
You graduate school, you just had the best year of your career. What's the next step?
So to me, the plan is always, when I say get in a pro baseball, it's always to get drafted.
Walk me through the MLB draft. How did it play out?
But I definitively remember the day of the draft, listening to the streaming audio online, the entire thing, start to finish. It was the entirety of 2 days. I just sat at the computer with my head on the desk for probably 20 hours. And really the deflating ones is when I'm hearing backup catchers on the Division I level getting drafted. And I'm just sitting there like kind of banging my head off the desk like, how is this even possible? Like, this kid barely sees the field at University of whatever. So it was a deflating moment for real. And that lasted a couple of days, but then it was right back to work and went to the Indians post-draft workout, which is crazy because I probably put on one of my best performances of my career. So they called me over after and they're like, we'll put you on our list and follow up with you next year. Never heard from the Indians again. So that's, a glimpse into what professional baseball is.
Undrafted, unwanted, and unwilling to give up, Cliff takes another swing at his dream.
Luckily enough, I went to a free agent workout in Detroit with pretty much all the best free agent players in the country from every big school across the country, 200 players. I went up to that workout and did everything I could, and I was good with the outcome. I knew I couldn't have played any better, and we were sitting there after the workout, and the guy, Nick Belmonte, was the instructor who ran this workout. So when he announces he's got 2 contracts, in my mind, I know one of them has to be mine. But sure enough, the first one wasn't. So now it's down to 1 contract and 199 guys. And sure enough, called my name. It was my contract. I called my mom.
I remember him calling us. It was on Father's Day, and Frank and I were at a truck show. He called us to tell us that he was coming home and pack up his stuff because he got a contract to play in New Jersey.
She's super excited, crying on the phone, puts my dad on the phone. And he really didn't say much, but I remember the conversation. I told him, I said, hey, I got a game tomorrow in New Jersey. And I don't think it clicked with him right at first. He said, oh, what's that for? And I told him, I said, I got signed. I'm going to play pro ball in New Jersey. I have to be there tomorrow. He kind of went silent for a little bit, and he just said, oh my God. Like that was it. That was the whole conversation, but I could hear the peak in his voice. Like that was the most excitement I really ever got out of him on the baseball side. And that truly meant a lot. And my mom kind of said he started tearing up and everything.
Frank was always telling me how good he knew Cliff was, and he was really proud of him.
I got sent to the Sussex Skyhawks in the Canadian American Independent League. And like I said, I was in Detroit. And they're like, hey, you got a game tomorrow, 7 o'clock. So it's Detroit to Youngstown to New Jersey immediately.
And what does a contract look like?
13 games every 14 days, $800 a month.
But you're getting paid to play ball, right?
But I'm getting paid to play ball. That's all that mattered.
What position did you play growing up?
Back in Little League, I was your typical pitcher / shortstop. The transition into like full-time catching as my position didn't really happen until high school.
What is it about catching?
Once you start catching and you're in control of the game and dictate how everything goes, it makes every other position on the field just seem boring and uninterested. People think the pitcher controls the game, but they don't. It's the catcher that controls the game. And I want to be involved in every pitch, every strike, every ball, every play, direct the field, direct my players where to go, where to align. I have control of everything. It's just like the quarterback in football. In my rookie season, I actually became frustrated quite often because I wasn't playing as much as I thought I would be. I had a catcher in front of me, so I was playing one every 7, 10, 12 days, something like that. You know, all my friends on the team are all the bullpen pitchers because I'm down in the bullpen catching them, and they're not playing every day. You know, so what happens? We're going out to the clubs and the bars and, you know, getting drunk every night of the week and everything like that. So it's a Friday night in Sussex, and I'm not playing the next day. My roommate comes out. He usually doesn't come out. He comes out. He's buying drinks for everybody. I'm already drunk. He hands me a Dixie cup, says it's a shot, Washington apple or something. It ends up being straight 151. So I'm in rough shape. I'm sick all night, throwing up on the way to the field next day, dehydrated, like I'm a mess. So I'm sipping Gatorade, sitting in the bullpen, trying to survive. And we're getting killed. It's 10-0. It's the 7th inning, and the catcher in front of me, he went by Yo-Yo, goes to the manager. He's like, hey, let Cliff catch the last 2 innings. So like, and he did it on purpose. He knew what was going on. So they come get me from the bullpen, whatever. I go catch an inning. I'm like second to bat the next inning, go up, first pitch, home run to left field. Like, could barely run around the bases. Couldn't even explain how it happened. I don't know. He threw me a fastball on my knees and I took it out to left field. I get back in the dugout and Yo-Yo's like, what was that? How'd you do that? I'm like, dude, get the fuck away from me. So that was my rookie season.
Impressive in the few opportunities he was given, Cliff gets another call from a major league team, but he's accumulated major mileage on his body.
I had a one-on-one workout set up with the Phillies that I eventually had to decline. Nobody really knew, but I already knew my shoulder was injured my senior season of college. So I really needed an MRI at that time, but I had kind of convinced the doctor to just, you know, as I would say, just make my arm stop hurting. I didn't want to know what was wrong. We went through 3 cortisone shots of my senior season in college through my rookie season of pro ball. When I had my shoulder checked out after this season, I was completely mangled. 2 tears in my rotator cuff and a torn labrum. So I actually went through like 6 months of rehab first. Didn't touch a baseball for like 4 months. Picked a baseball up, went to throw. It's the same. Summer of 2009, I had the surgery. At that point, I was excited to have the surgery because they talked me up and said, hey, I'll come back stronger. Won't lose any miles per hour or anything like that. It's a grueling rehab, but I'll get back healthy. So to me, if I'm getting back healthy or even more healthy, you know, the sky's the limit still. I just got to get through this rehab. The whole time I'm still in my training, I'm working on my lower body and cardio and did everything right.
He's also still grinding with his fledgling sports memorabilia business, which, with Cliff sidelined, becomes less and less of a side hustle. As he grows deeper in the industry, Cliff begins to see where the real money can be made.
All right, so, you know, majority of the years from 2005 through the end of 2009 is majority baseball. That's what I felt comfortable in. That's the stadiums I knew. It started to change into football. And really, I met an associate, you know, and he kind of convinced me that the real money is in football. And it absolutely was college football, you know, NFL, everything like that.
Whose idea was this again?
So his name's Adam Bollinger. I met Adam Bollinger in Cleveland, and really he had a kind of an arrogance about him, which is why we probably didn't communicate earlier on. You know, I also saw from a distance that he very much knew what was going on in the autograph industry, where to go. We get into a conversation and it turns into one about football. And it was leading into the football season, everything like that, you know, and he's really telling me that that's where the profit is. He knows the ropes and where to go. And really, I kind of want to tag along with him for real. So My extending an olive branch to him is I graduated high school with who ended up being the starting quarterback at Penn State for the 2009 season, Darryl Clark. I hit him up and kind of conveyed my wish that, I could kind of take care of him if he needed anything, but I need some autographs. And we set it up, and I take Adam along with me on this trip to State College. Adam also had some connections into the Ohio State team, so I let him come on this trip with me. We go up there. Geez, I don't even know how much. I got stacks of Sports Illustrated articles, mini helmets, footballs, photos. Whole truckload full. We get there. Darryl pulls up. I haven't seen him since 2004 when we graduated high school. We meet in this side parking lot away from the facility. I hop in the car with him and we go for a ride. Back then, 2009, these players couldn't take money for anything really, but especially not for signing their name, not for any autograph deal or anything like that. So we just go for a drive around the town real quick. I got an envelope full of money, $350. He takes it, comes back, and we do this autograph signing. It probably took on the sense of more of a drug deal than anything else. I know I had at least 20 mini helmets he signed, all inscribed with Go Lions. Same thing with 20 logo footballs. I had a jersey, and then just a stack of photos. So actually what's crazy in the industry is you don't ever have photos signed, you just have them signed blank sheets of photo paper. And then you can feed the photo paper through a photo printer, and the image prints over top of the signature with no alteration or anything. That's how you save costs. So I just brought a pack of photo paper and you just sign the whole thing. On the floor are sitting these cleats that they're still wet and muddy and soaked, and he's like, hey, I just wore those in the game against Northwestern, take those. So I had him scribble on them. We signed game used 2009, wrote on both shoes. There was a little Sharpie dot on the Nike check. I photo matched it to a photo from the game. I brought them home, put them on eBay, had someone hit me up. They were gone before the end of the night, $500.
Cliff just made over half his monthly salary on one pair of Penn State cleats. Adam was right. College football is where the money's at. Unable to play ball at the moment, Cliff takes Adam up on another offer to team up.
This would have been the season I was coming off of my shoulder surgery, so I wasn't playing. So I was fully immersed in the autograph industry. He was looking for someone to travel with to kind of share travel expenses, and I was looking to expand the business. So we traveled the whole country. We're talking 16, 18-hour drives to do college football, and it's crazy profitable. So when we get out there, there's fans, but there's nobody really trying to do what we're trying to do. When we go out there, I'm not trying to get one Sam Bradford autograph. I need like 10 of them. You pinpoint it to hit multiple stops, obviously, when we're going all the way across the country. So it started in Columbus. USC was in town playing Ohio State. Left from there, went to Oklahoma State to get Des Bryant and some other guys on that team. Left from there, went to Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma, to do the Sooners, and then came back. No hotel, no nothing. And that trip was a couple $1,000s profit. So absolutely, there's a college football and the NFL level is crazy money to be had, but it takes work.
What was the moment, if you can think of one, that steered you from a mostly legitimate business to the path of a criminal enterprise?
It's the Alabama story, which is 1,000% the transition. So we're planning a big trip at the end of the season around the collegiate football championship. We're watching the SEC championship game, Florida versus Alabama, thinking we're planning a trip to Florida. Alabama wins in a surprise, and now we're going to Tuscaloosa. So we plan this big, extravagant, huge expense trip to Tuscaloosa, Alabama. If they were to win the national championship, it could be a huge payday. So not only were we the only ones there as far as, outsiders looking for autographs, it's over Christmas break. There's nobody on campus. We actually don't even know where to find the team yet. We're checking some housing units, and I'll never forget, we see it's a white Avalanche. It's got the license plate MJ24. Pull up the roster, Marquise Johnson, number 24, DB for Alabama. So we sit outside this housing unit, basically just waiting for this kid to come out and jump in his truck. And sure enough, he comes out. We ask him if he can sign some autographs. So he signs a couple. He comes over to the truck, sees what we're talking about, sees it's like 40 more footballs. And he doesn't hesitate to tell us he wants paid. Honestly, to us, if we pay the players, the situation goes a lot more smoothly. So we pay this dude like whatever, $40. He signs all the stuff. Cool. He brings it up. He's like, hey, there's a bunch of players inside. They want to make some money. I can go in there and start bringing guys out 2, 3 at a time. You know, we have the majority of the team. We probably have 25, 30, 35 signatures on these footballs. We're missing players like Julio Jones, Rolando McClain, Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram's in New York for the Heisman Trophy, so we know we can't get him. He's not even coming back. So all these big name players on this team, we never came up with. I don't want to say these balls would have been worthless without these players, but their value were certainly diminished if you don't have 3 of the superstars on the team. We had put in so much time being down there and paying all these players out of my pocket. And really, one of the turning moments for me is while we were down there, I saw an Alabama team signed football sell on eBay for like $900. But we're the only ones down there. Nobody on campus, no students, no fans, nobody. Could it have come from early in the season? Possibly. But to me, it looked like a forgery. It looked too clean to be authentic. And by clean, I just mean kind of autographs spaced out and proportioned on all the same size, and it just looked like the same person did it. Sold for $900. So at that point, I'm like, I don't want to be in the middle of Alabama anymore. It's Christmas. I'm trying to get home for real. You know, so how do these signatures get on the ball? Adam put them on there. That's how it started.
On the next episode of Operation Stolen Base,
he discovered that he can sign pretty much anybody that you ever want to.
Boxes full of jerseys, footballs, buckets of baseballs, stacks of photos.
You know, rule of thumb across anything in life. If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
I've never seen anything like that before in my entire life.
this episode of Operation Stolen Base was written by me, Johnny Chechitelli. Story editing, mixing, and sound design by Kevin Skubak. Produced by Vince Tornero and myself. Our theme song is Chasin by the Vindys.
That was an amazing podcast from an amazing podcast company in co-production with Wessler Media. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to leave a review. It goes a long way in helping more people find Operation Stolen Base.